Hello, everyone. With a great pleasure, I'm announcing my new show, Talk with Lion of Barbados. My guest is a legend who made more than 16,000 international run, 35 centuries, one of the best opener world has ever seen, and who, with Gordon Greenwich, went on to become one of the most feared opening pair in the world. The man who believes in philosophy of live, love, and laugh. It is my great honor to do program with this humble man, whom I also a great admirer. Ladies and gentlemen, presenting Lion of Barbados, Desmond Haynes. Welcome to the show, sir. And we are going to start with by paying tribute to Sir Everton Weeks. What should I say about him? He was a legend. He was a father figure for a lot of players from your generation in West Indies. He started his career as a 22-year-old young cricketer, and he went on to become one of the greatest ever. One of the last Ws from the great trios of Ws from West Indies. Over to you, sir. You want to pay some tribute?
Well, first, I would like to say good day to all the listeners. It is pretty sad, to lose the great Sir Everton Weeks, but he was an icon. He was an icon for a lot of our cricketers. Me especially, he was a mentor to me as well. And I remember when I was playing in my playing days, I used to go and ask him, Sir Everton, did you see anything, while I was playing? Back in them days, he wasn't knighted, but I just say that I used to say Everton, I used to say, Mr. Weeks, did you see anything? And he used to say, young man, just focus on the ball, if you watch the ball like a hawk, everything will be okay. And I remember that, and I always used to use that along in my coaching as well. I used to tell a lot of the players that I coach, look, the best thing to do is that if you can pick the ball up pretty early out of the bowler's hand, that's half of the problem. So, he would be greatly missed, but, he had a very good run. He was 95 years old at his passing. It is another century that he missed out on, but if you remember, in India, he had 5 consecutive 100s, and in India, he was run out. And he would always say that, he never speak ill about the umpire decision, but he said, I think I had passed the crease. So in other words, he was actually saying that he think he was home when he was given out. Yeah, but he was very humble person, and a great gentleman, and someone that we've all loved when we were always, when he was a commentator, when he was involved in cricket, he was definitely the real icon.
Imagine if he was not out in Madras Test, I guess. It would be like 6 centuries in a row.
Yes. That's what he was.
Five
That is
in a
what
row
he
is
was
a
talking
great
about.
thing to achieve, because only Rahul Dravid has come closer to that. I think he has done 4 centuries in a row, and it is a great achievement, right?
Yeah, very much so. But also, when you take cricket away from it all, he was a great person as well. A very nice, humble gentleman, someone that you can always have time for you, that you can always call. You can pick his brain. You can ask him about anything. And he was a very, very nice person, and he's a role model to all of us.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, Desmond Hens, to introduce, not introduce, but to say something about Everton Weeks to the new generation, because these are the personality which really brought forward the game forward and introduced to the new generations, pass on from one generation to another generation, and they were great players. Thank you very much, sir. Now let's move forward, and we'll talk about some current affairs stuff. And one of the biggest item which is people are talking about is 1983 World Cup. It is not a current affair topic, but because it has completed 37 years, right? And it is quite a buzz in India that how we defeated West Indies, because since that time till that happened, India was not a formidable force in ODI, right? And 1983 happened, and we changed the destiny of India altogether. India, uh, you know, stamped there that we have arrived, and then everything in the country changed after that. What is your memory about 1983 World Cup, sir?
Well, this is the reason why I dressed like this, because I knew that that was the question that was going to come to me, and I congratulated India at the time in 1983 when they won the World Cup, and I'm going to do it again. Every time I go to India, I'm always reminded of the 1983 World Cup. Even though straight after the World Cup, we went there, we played 5 one-day games, we beat them very badly, but nobody cared.
Mm.
But getting back to the 1983, it's only a couple of days ago I was talking to Sandu,
Mm.
and we were talking about the movie that is coming out, and I said to him, look, I believe that you should have included that the producers should have included the past players as well, instead of just having the kids and family involved in the movie.
Mhm.
And he was saying that yes, yeah, he thinks so, and I was just talking about the fact that when we played then, there wasn't a lot of money in the game. We make more money now from the game in doing promotions, and that's what he was saying to me, that we make more money from the game in doing promotions than when he was playing.
Mm.
So I do agree with that, but if there's one problem I have, I just think that the West Indies team in 1983 losing to India, and if you're going to make a movie, I think that we should have been
Invited to.
involved, and to make, yeah, and to make it, to hear our side of the story. But in 1983 in the World Cup, it was a real sad day for us. Our manager at the time was Clyde Walcott, and he keep reminding us that, you know, this team that we're playing today had beaten us in the preliminaries. It's the only team that has beaten us in the preliminaries. We cannot take this team lightly.
Like me.
And the thing about it too is the fact that it was well led. You had Dev, who was a fantastic cricketer, a good leader, and he had some, very senior players with him. You know, and it was a team that if you give them a chance, they'll grab it with both hands, and they done that.
Mm.
But there was a lot of talk about the fact that there was a lot of people say, look, the champagne was in our dressing room, and then all
Yeah.
of a
What
sudden
what
it
is
had to
the
be
what was the story?
had
Tell
to be
us.
taken out. Well, I can't remember. I can't remember much about the champagne in our dressing room. I believe that in every finals there would also be champagne in all the rooms, because nobody knew who was going to win the game. It was a situation where all of the West Indian players in our dressing room, I can tell you, if you had seen the faces of Viv Richards, in tears, myself in tears, Michael Holden, all of the bigger, Lloydie was, sniffing, and I, as a youngster, then, decided, well, my goodness, this means so much to them that, it even brought tears to my eyes, because when you look at, the likes of the senior players, feeling very, very, very hurt, at the end result, it was really a
Yeah.
sad day for cricket. But, you said that, it then transformed India cricket going forward, and it's got India, even to this day now, to be a superpower in world cricket.
I remember that when you were batting, like it was 2 wicket down. The great Vivian Richards was with on the other side, and you were doing pretty well. Like the partnership was building up, and all of a sudden you got out on 13 run probably, and it was Madan Lal who got you out, right? So what was going in your mind that time? Like why you rushed that shot in the cover?
Well, I don't think I rushed the shot. I think that Marilal, I think he beat me for pace there. I think one would say that Marilal, every ball is a slow ball, but I think that he beat me for pace. I played a bit early and got caught in the covers. But I'm a great friend of Marilal. We've always get on very well in their team. I've always got on very well with a lot of the Indian players.
Mhm.
Sunny Gavaskar is somebody who I really look up to. Every time I see him, I always say, hello, master.
Mhm.
And then you had Jimmy Amanath, who was always right. Then you had Kermani, who used to give us a lot of jokes from behind.
You are saying that you were written by pace of Madan Lal, like.
Because matter, it is a saying that he bowls so slow that sometimes he run faster than he bowls. So, uh, but I think Madanal would he would appreciate the gesture as well. But
Yeah,
well done to India. On a
yeah.
serious note, though, India did play well. They beat us, the only team in 1983 that beat us twice, and they deserve to be winners.
What about leadership of Kapil Dev at that time? Because till that time, nobody used to take India seriously in ODI, but everything changed under the leadership of Kapil Dev. So, what is your point of view about Kapil Dev?
Well, in our team, we always felt that Capade was a good leader. The guys were definitely playing for him. But if you look at Dev's ability to play the one-day version, one would ask the question, how would he be judged, in the T20 format as it is now?
Hmm.
What would he go for? Because he used to hit a six at will. He used to come and bowl some very tight overs, for India. He was an excellent fielder. So he was an all-rounder, of great. He was a very great all-rounder, and his leadership, as I said before, he really led from the front. And in that 1983 World Cup, you remember the big 100 that he made. He did lead from the front, and
Yeah.
he was very very good for India.
As you said that Sunil Gavaskar was like your, hero. What did you, because your playing style was completely different than Gavaskar, right? So, what did you pick up from his batting style?
Well, the funny thing, Sonny Gavaskar made me bat with a longer blade bat because he had such great balance. And if there's one thing that I would remember when I was playing, I think the likes of myself and Graham Gooch, I think when one look at us, if you want to find a fault for us, is that we normally fall across the wicket because, our head go over the offside, and sometimes we have to play around our pads, and we are very much, LBW candidates. So I remember watching Sonny Gavaskar batting, and he always well balanced. And then I pick up his bat one day, and I realized, well, this looked funny because the blade was longer than normal. So I said, oh, so he's batting with a normal handled bat, but the blade is about an inch or an inch and a half longer. So then I remember I was working for Galamo at the time, and I called Peter Wright, and I said to Peter Wright that I need my bats made with a longer blade, an inch longer, and a normal handle. So it was just so much respect I had for Sonny Gavaskar and watching him play. And what a great opener, one of the best openers the world have ever seen.
We'll take a small break because we have to uh, consider the fact that they are a sponsor and we have to relay their message as well. So we'll take a short break and then we'll join you like within 30 seconds on the other side of the break.
Premium quality hand sanitizer is now available from Greenish, the brand you trust. It is made with 75% food-grade ethanol and is approved by Health Canada. For further information, visit your neighborhood pharmacy or www.greenish.com.
Welcome back, Desmond, after the break, small break. Um, and like we have to talk about the current affairs, right? And
Yes.
the biggest thing happened for West Indies is that they defeated England, right? Like, and they played very well. So, what do you think? What is your point of view on that? You want to
Well,
congratulate?
the first thing I would like to say is that West Indies has done another first, right? The first cricket team to win a COVID-19 test match.
Wow, they
so
went into
so
the history.
I think that I have to give kudos to the team, Jason Holder, well led by Jason and all the team. I thought the guys played very well. I was happy to see young Craig Brathwaite in the runs again. In the first innings, he got some runs. He got 60 odd. I'm also happy for Jermaine Blackwood, who played very well. If there's one thing that I was a little disappointed that, when you're a 95, you win the game for the team. You don't hit it in the air. You win the game for the team. And this is probably the right time to criticize him now because he has done well. Sometimes what we do is that we like to criticize people when they're down. But, people accept criticism a lot better when they're doing well and you just mention a lapse or you mention something in which they have to work on. Again, Jason Holder, who bowled very well in the first innings, along with Gabriel. I mean, overall, the team performance was very, very good. In the batting department, we still find that some of our batsmen, they're still having some problems. I saw Shea Hope still having a little bit of problem with the ball nipping back into him. But I think, with the right advice and so forth in the West Indies dressing room, I think it's a matter of him just, probably open his stance a little bit and try to hit the ball back down to where it came from. But I've always had a lot of hope that and no pun intended, that hope will be a very good Test cricketer. So I'm still hoping for him. But overall, I think the team has done very well. Timar Roach obviously didn't get many wickets in this Test match, but he's also someone who's done very well for West Indies, and hopefully in the next Test match that he will come into. But kudos to the team, a very well led side by Jason, led from the front and played well. I think that England, judging from what I've seen on the first day of the Test match, might have just on, a little bit of, I think they probably took us for granted, I think if England was playing against Australia, I doubt very much that they would bat,
But do you think
bat first on that wicket.
Do you think their inexperienced batting lineup, like their top 3-4 players, are very new in the Test arena? Was that the factor also?
Yeah, but I'm not going to make no excuses for England. I'm going to, as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to congratulate West Indies. I find that sometimes we take away the victory from and the celebration of our success by looking at the opposition and trying to find all sorts of excuses of why the West Indies won the game.
Yeah.
I am not going to do that. I am going to praise the West Indies for the victory, because too many people, always willing to talk about the negatives of our West Indian players. And as a West Indian, I'm vowed to support West Indies to the end. And I was very happy that they've won. Again, as I mentioned, I think that England might have just took us for granted and thought that they could just go on back. And with such an inexperienced batting lineup, I thought that Jason done very well in got the ball to move around a little bit. And England look a bit lost, with their bowling department not getting the ball to go sideways. They don't really look like the same team that when the ball is swinging, England is a very strong team. But I'm not here to lament on England's failures. I'm here to celebrate West Indies' victory. It's good when we win. And it does so much for the Caribbean. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, it was nice to see a West Indian coming like that, because we all are big fan of West Indian cricket, and we love to see West Indies doing pretty very well in the arena, because that's where it is good for cricket as a whole. Who is your before we wind up this segment, sir? One last question: who is your favorite batsman in current time?
Rohit Sharma, a guy I know everybody would talk about. Kohli, they'll talk about Steve Smith, but Rohit Sharma, very talented. Look the doubles he got in 50 over one-day cricket. I mean, that guy is unbelievable. So it's Rohit Sharma, and I'm shouting out Rohit Sharma because he's also a friend.
Yeah, okay. But do you think his batting style is also what attracts all the West Indians?
Yeah, the effortless play, the West Indies we love the likes of people like Carl Hooper. We like easy players. We like people with a bit of class and style. So yes, I think he's very, very well liked in the Caribbean, and everybody thinks that he's a fantastic cricketer. And they like the way he plays shots. His shots, look very pretty. We've got another youngster in the West Indies team who his shots are very pretty as well, but we just want him to get some big runs in young Shamar Brooks. So, a lot of people like those type of players, class players.
Okay, sir. With this, we end this segment. Thanks a lot for your views. We go to second segment, and as I told to my audience that we are going to pick up upcoming talent from North America or anywhere in the world, but we'll be going to focus on Canada first. And today we have picked up one of the upcoming talent in Canada. His name is Jas Patel. Um and he is a very good batsman, right-hander. And we already provided the video to you to do the analysis, sir. So let me run the video first, and then you can give your point of view on his batting.
I think he's a very talented player. His grip look as though he fancied the leg side a bit, but you can see that this guy has got all the shots all around the wicket. I judging looking at the video, the bowling didn't look that great bowling, but you know at the end of the day you still have to hit the ball and you still have to make the runs. But you know, I don't understand why in North America when you look like Canada and United States, you know, they just don't like to encourage the youngsters. They need to play the youngsters. You know, you've got a youngster like this guy Josh here. As you know the surfaces in Canada and also North America might not be the best surfaces there is. You know, with the matting and so forth. So you know, when you get the opportunity to tour, you have to pick the youngsters. You know, you must build your cricket nation with the youth. And you know that's a message that I really like to send to the Canada Cricket Association to invest in the youth. And this guy has got all the talent. As I was saying to you before, you know, watching the video, he looked very good. You know, he played all the shots. I like his movement. You know, he gets across the wicket. I like the shuffle. As an opening batsman, it's very, very important for you to be mentally strong. You also have to be prepared to bat at every stage. You know, a lot of people always say to me, Desmond, when do you prepare to bat? I said, well, from the day before or a couple of days before. But then even on the day that I'm playing, if we are fielding first, you know, I don't wait to when 9 wickets down and then start getting ready to bat. I just wait because then you got to say to yourself, when 6 wickets are out or, you know, you realize that the West Indies are in the tail, someone can get a hat trick and then, you know, you don't know what can happen. So you always got to be prepared to bat at all times.
So he has asked a few questions to you, sir, and he said, what should he do if there is a bouncer attack or if he's facing a rib cage attack, right? Sometimes bowlers tend to hit the rib cage. So what is the mental state, or how do you suggest him to prepare for those kind of deliveries?
I think that a lot of batsmen get into problems when the ball is at their wrist because they want to play the ball above their waist, side on, in a side on position. And that is a big mistake. If you're facing a good fast bowler who is coming into the ribs all the time, your chest must be looking down the wicket. So just imagine your chest looking down the wicket. Where is your rib cage now? Your rib cage is actually away from the ball, because if your chest is looking down the wicket, it means that the rib cage is on that side, especially your left ribs. So looking down the wicket is a lot better to play the ball that is at your ribs. Don't try to be side on. Always try to be chest on with your face and your chest looking straight down the pitch to the fast bowler.
Pre-delivery trigger point. So if you see he suffer a bit, right? So what is your suggestion about that? It is a good thing to do, or he needs some adjustment there?
No, I like to see, especially in the one-day games. In T20 cricket, I like to see people shuffle, because then what is happening is a lot of teams have a ploy in the 20 over to bowl the ball full and wide. That is where a lot of bowlers target to bowl a dot ball. So if you are shuffling towards the off stump, you know, it gives you a better chance to play that wide ball, because don't forget, in T20 cricket, you don't leave alone. So the shuffle is a very good thing to do. You just have to be cognizant of the fact that if you're shuffling across the wicket, when the ball comes straight at the stump, you must let the bat lead.
And we are now entering the third segment. And I would like to name my two sponsors for this segment, where Desmond is going to show us some batting or bowling tips, whatever he picks. But these two gentlemen who has agreed to sponsor this third segment is Mr. Rohit Kohli from Mortgage Intelligence and Mr. Ashutosh Pandey from iPro Reality. Thanks a lot to sponsors, all my sponsors. And Desmond, what are you going to show today? Your tips for today?
Well, the tips today is that we're talking about the ball at your ribs. And I think that what we need to do is to make sure that when you're facing the short pitch delivery, that you make sure that your chest is looking down the wicket. I don't know if you can see the bat here, and you can see my chest. Too many people try to be side on like that, and that is giving them problems. So whenever you're facing a short pitch delivery, you always have to make sure that your chest is looking straight down the wicket.
Yeah. And whose bat is that? There is something written over there?
Yeah, this is a bat that on that same tour, I remember telling you when I was with the batting consultant with the West Indies team, it was from Sachin Tendulkar. Dear Desmond, it was a joy to have played against you. Wish you all the very best in life, Sachin.
Yeah, well, great. With this, we come to end of our first talk show. Thanks a lot, Desmond. And I know that you have a lot of memories and which you would like to share, but we'll talk about that in later episode. Not everything can be captured today, so let's see when we schedule for our next episode. And I really invite and request all of you who are listening to this program, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and keep listening to Desmond Hens. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you, Desmond.